There's a post going around at the moment that basically says that it's more damaging, it does more damage than good calling your son the man of the house.
When you say calling your son the man of the house, is this in general?
I think that's right.
I think you should call him the man of the house.
No, I think you shouldn't.
Why?
They're not.
Why?
They're just not.
That was such a childish answer. They're not, okay?
It's not.
No, no, it's not even
No, but it's just the plainness
just
to the
not.
answer.
We don't even know what, in our society, we don't even know what the definition of a man is. So how you can call someone the man of the house? We don't even know what a fucking house is.
Yo,
For those of you that didn't understand that, he said,
We don't even know what a fucking house is.
yo, it's so true, you know.
We haven't got a house in order. So how
It's
can you
so
have
true.
a man of the house?
You want to talk about man of the house, but yet you don't even really know what a house is. It's true. It's true.
So some would argue, some would
Right
argue,
in there, bro.
yeah, some would argue that
She's ready for it.
that
I like it.
by giving your son that title, you're then. All right, so let's just go off the notion that man
Yeah.
is the generic definition of what we all know, yeah?
Okay.
But you know, but which could fully
Yeah, yeah.
argue, yeah?
Yeah.
Some would say that calling your child, your son, the man of the house, is making him, turning him to become a better man for the future,
No.
i.e., taking bins out,
Okay.
Responsibility.
responsibility.
That's responsibility. That's not man. Well, it's part of what a man does, but it's not a man. Where is he learning it from? If there's no other man, where is he learning to become a man?
The woman.
So, okay, so let's explore both of them. If he's learning it from, let's do a woman first.
Yeah.
If he's learning it from a woman,
A woman can't teach a man to be a man. A man can only teach a man how to be a man because he's a man. A woman can teach, like I can't teach a woman how to be a woman.
Can I interject?
I can enable her to do certain things, or I can give her morals, but to be a man, I can't. We have different.
Can we be
energies and all that.
specific
Go on,
and retract? I'm not disagreeing with anything you
I
said,
ain't chatting shit.
but
We want to chat.
no. But we're gonna reword it
Yeah.
with the whole a woman. 'Cause I stand by this as well.
what?
A woman cannot teach a boy to
Ah, yeah.
be a man.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and the reason why I say that sometimes it's important with the words like
You're right.
you're saying a man. If he's already a man, what have we got to teach him in that sense? Obviously, I understand there's more depth, but it's the boy that we would try to teach to
Right.
becoming
You're
that.
right.
Okay, so we say women can't teach boys to become men.
Mhm.
So what they're saying is they're putting their own trauma on that particular son.
They can impart knowledge. Don't get me wrong. A woman can add so much value to a boy's life, but you can't teach. You're a woman. You can't teach a man how to be a man, if that makes sense.
Okay, so then
You can enable, you can impart like morals and values and all these things.
teach.
But there is just, it's like when, like obviously, if you haven't got a dad around, you're gonna long for a dad because there's something that you get from a man energetically that you don't get from a woman, and vice versa.
Okay,
So you need
so
both.
what about if a man is then calling his son a man?
Then it makes sense because.
Right.
Well, in this society, I wouldn't trust that. Well, you know, I'm being serious. In this society, I don't know, because a lot of our ideals are not healthy for us. If that makes sense, it's not.
Yeah.
It's
They're
not
prehistoric.
ideal. Our ideal of being a man. It's the system's idea of us being a man, which right now is kind of mixed. It's fucked. So there is no proper model of masculinity in a healthy way. When we talk about masculinity now, there's normally toxic aligned to that. So how could you know what being a man is if there's always toxic or some sort of we should feel guilty or we've got too much power? There's always something around that when it comes to being a man rather than like enjoying being a man and embracing being a man. So I wouldn't trust in our society that we truly know. Not to say there isn't, but I haven't seen many models of that. So, and because our society is so focused on like splitting up the nuclear family, we're not gonna learn like the duality, if that makes, you're not going to learn what it's, because you do need both to become a man. You need to understand both dualities, the female and the masculine. But we don't, often our men are not getting that, and if they are getting it, a lot of the time it's toxic. It's traumatizing. Whereas if you've got parents or family members who are from the motherland and are tuned into their culture, then you're going to get that kind of passage, if that makes sense. But I don't know, I can't speak for it from my perspective because I haven't seen it, I haven't experienced it like that, but there must be people that will be good to speak to people who've had that passage, if that makes sense.
So I think it's damaging. I think it's truly damaging. To me, when I hear someone trying to teach a boy to become a man, I think you're skipping a whole step of the boy being a boy,
Absolutely.
of the boy being a child.
Yeah.
So for me, it's important to take that away. Like we were saying earlier, you can definitely teach responsibilities and all of that stuff. But I think that, especially if you're black as well, the pressure that comes with being a black man is so great. Why would you want to put that on your son so early? Because you're allowing him to tap into a field that most adults can't even handle. Because even if you look at the suicide rate amongst black men, it's a struggle. Do you get what I'm saying? So for me to then turn around and offload my pressure onto my son is unfair. So I wouldn't then do that. I personally wouldn't do that, and I don't see benefit in doing that at all whatsoever. So I do think that people have to understand what it is that they're saying to their children. I think teaching responsibility and teaching somebody how to be a man is everyone's blurred the lines, but it's two completely different things. And also, I don't think you can actively teach someone to be a man. I think it's more of a subconscious lesson.
It's like that modelling, they will look at you and observe how you interact with the world around you.
Exactly, how you carry yourself. You can't tell somebody you should carry yourself like this and then expect them to go out and do that. I think it's a thing where you say, my dad, I don't know, speaks to everyone with respect and therefore never raises a hand to a woman, and always, I don't know, it could be anything, opens the door or always drives, or it could be anything, yeah? So I think that's more of a, doesn't bring his work home, comes in and always kisses his partner, if we're talking about in a relationship setting, is very open, is in touch with his emotional side as well as his physical strength side. Those are all the things, in my opinion, or my definition of what a man should be. These are all the things that you teach through seeing and experience, rather than writing it down. You should do this. You should do this. You should do this. That's my thing. So I wouldn't call boys men at all.
So why do women do it then?
See?
I was hoping that was rhetorical.
Huh?
I can't answer anything for all women. Personally,
Why do you think?
as a mother of a son, I don't do that.
Why do you think? You're our closest link.
My assumption would be that the females are aware, despite whether their attitude is that they need a man around the house or they don't need a man in their life, whatever it is. My assumption is that at that point they realise a man is necessary in the home. Whether it be for discipline, because sometimes they might put it on the boy if he's maybe the eldest, and they got young, whether it be younger siblings, male or female, it might be, because naturally you lead by example when you're the eldest, right? If you are the eldest, you've got that little bit extra pressure just from being the eldest. If you're then the male and mum's the only person in the house as the adult, next would be yourself, because if anything should happen, you've got to take on the role. So as I said, my assumption is based on the fact that they realise it's necessary to have male energy in the home like that, or at least when there is a boy in the house, and that there's certain things that they would probably want of a man that they don't have, so therefore they will use their son to fulfill that role.
And isn't that so? If we're gonna go back to layman's, don't you think that a woman telling her son, who's a boy, that he's a man, when a man does come around,
It's a
do
problem.
you think it then causes a?
Yep.
Because
Yep.
now who becomes the man of the house?
Exactly, and I think this is when you build resilience, resistance, feuds, and all the rest of it, because now, depending on the relationship, depending on how that boy sees you, if he doesn't, a lot of children just don't like guys that enter from the opposite, just for not liking them's sake, yeah? Then you've got those when they genuinely have a reason and they don't like you. Doesn't matter what it is, if they build up that I don't like you attitude, next comes, you can't chat to me, you're not my dad, you're just. You cannot then, as that man, expect to come in that house and be like, I'm the man of the household, F you, because I'm the man of the house. Now, we've got testosterone flying all over the place because mum's already encouraged his testosterone levels to shoot through the roof. Yeah, he's already going through whatever changes he's going through as an individual, as a young boy changing into a young man. Then you've got a so-called man stepping in. That's already causing contention. Now, if it's all, I wouldn't just say all positive, but if it's all balanced and things are done correctly, even if she has raised him in a certain way to say, oh, you're going to be, but if she's done it in a kind of balanced way, I'm still not saying I agree to do it, but balanced way, then her introducing a man into the household, he should also understand that. But this is why I think it's so dangerous saying to a boy, you're the man of the house, because it can go either which way. He can either be feeling like, Jesus, there's too much pressure on me, or roll with it as, yeah, I'm the man of the house. More time, you hear little boys rolling around, no one can't chat to me, I'm the man of the house.
I just think it's important to fucking know, like, stop having sex without a condom, man. Seriously. Seriously, because then there won't be none of this. It's like, you're having to call your child the man of the house because you fucked up with the guy that you was with.
But some people in two-parent households are still doing that.
Which is disrespectful. Which is disrespectful because you can't be calling it like, what gives you that right as a woman to call your son, who's just
There with his
barely figuring it out, to give him that right as the man, and not just the man of the house.
And you're overriding your man, you're the man that's right there. It's true. It is true.
But
Right.
all this kind of tells me is that I just kind of think about what's the programming in the household, because when you guys speak about the man, right, there's a difference between white male manhood and black male manhood, and being over here minus all of our teachings, we're not taught how to be black men, we're taught how to be white men. So that's not something that I would want to aspire to. So when these women are actually calling them their children or their sons men, I think it's deeper than that, because what kind of man are you calling your son? Because it's not
That is
just
deep, isn't it?
the labels, it's what it means. What are you actually saying when you call him that? Because even with you, right, you basically said that there's not really nothing that you tell your son that kind of like makes him feel like he has to say some of the things that he does, but you don't have to, because he can see what situation you're in. Plus whatever it is that he's learning. That's how deep it is, really. For me, go to therapy, innit? They will tell you, a lot of this shit that you say comes with shit. But you don't know the weight until 15 years on, your child realizes that they've got problems, and now they're at therapy thinking about, I don't know where I got this from. And then the therapist is like, oh,
Your mum's calling.
It's like
Like,
the
that-
mum's
that-
calling.
you've been living up